All right, guys, we're live. We're back. We're a little late, but we're here. So, welcome to Crossfire with Espy and Gabi. I will introduce our guest in one moment, but just a shout out to our sponsors. We have Garage Door Guys in KC, and we have Arm Assassin Strength Shop. Gabi, you got the shirt on.
Yes, sir.
Good to see. And for those of you that haven't hit subscribe, please do so. Also, Patreon. We have all of our benefits of being a Patreon member. The link is in the description down below. And thank you to our One Alpha member, Zane William Nisley. And today on the show, welcome to Mr. Kayne Hemsing, Saskatchewan's own. Kayne, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we'll get you to introduce yourself, maybe tell people a little bit about you before we get rolling here.
Okay. Well, I've been arm wrestling actually since Ryan and I met in 2001 at the World Police Fire Games in Indianapolis. That was the first time I competed in arm wrestling there. I met Ryan there and Mel Terry and a lot of legends. Kind of got into the sport after that. Started in Saskatchewan here and just so, 19, 20 years later, here we are. Still love training, still love competing. Try to go to as many big tournaments as I can, nationals every year, and maybe even in worlds. I was in worlds in 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010. I went to worlds for 4 years straight and did well, and then haven't been back since. Kind of settled down, had a family and some kids, and now my boys are arm wrestling, so that's exciting. So we're getting a whole family involved, and so we might even hit nationals and worlds this year. So I guess a couple years ago, I've helped with the Saskatchewan arm wrestling for many years and train a lot of young competitors here in Saskatchewan.
Oh my God, we lost him already. Anyway, what Kayne was about to say was he's trying a bunch of kids and a bunch of young people. Gabi, let's take an opportunity here to talk about the Worlds. Canada has voted to join the IFA.
Yes, sir. It's official.
It is official. So I think it's a big thing for Canada. And what do you think we need to do as a country going forward?
Well, I think it's a huge thing. Backing Rick like that and making. I don't know if we could talk about the vote. The vote was. I wouldn't say if it was close. It wasn't that close, but I'm still shocked that there were people voting not in favor of joining the IFA. But it's huge news. Oh, he's back.
Let me do one second. I'm just going to do some reconfiguring here.
Some Facebook scam thing popped up on my phone. It said you got to join Be Livers, it said, or something.
Oh yeah. So we have we were talking about, Kayne, you were talking about the kids you're training, but we were talking about the vote in Canada to join the IFA.
Okay.
But anyway, continue.
Just going back a couple years ago, got the idea, always had the idea of promote arm wrestling in Western Canada at a higher level. So what I did is I sat down with some sponsors and we started the Fit to Fight Arm Sports League, which is more Western Canadian based, just to promote arm wrestling at the highest level here in Western Canada. And since then, we've had 3 tournaments in 18, 3 tournaments last year, and this weekend on Saturday is Fit to Fight number 7, the Duke Invitational, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And I think the biggest thing we're excited about the league is once the league got up and going after 2018 and we realized it's going to be successful and we've been bringing in big names and high quality matches, is last year we raised $4,500 for the Jim Patterson Children's Foundation. So what that is I didn't start the league to make money with my sponsorship group, which is Rockport Trucking out of Moose Jaw. What we decided is that the tournaments are to break even as far as costs, and then everything left over, be it $500, $1,000, $1,500, whatever it is, we donate that money to the Jim Patterson Children's Foundation, which helps sick children in Saskatchewan. So that's the basis of the league now. We're promoting arm wrestling at the highest level, having incredible events, and at the end of the day, we're all giving back. Now, for now, it's in Saskatchewan, but if we have tournaments in BC, Alberta, or Manitoba, we can help those children.
God damn, he needs to shut those alerts off.
Um,
I'm going to message him. Anyway, let's talk more about the IFA. And we're also waiting for comments coming in the comments section here. So if anybody's out there watching, let us know that you can actually see us. And yeah, we would appreciate that very much.
yeah, so for me, it was big news. And I'm not that rooted in Canadian arm wrestling as I once was, or even close to what you are. But for me, I thought there's a lot of, I was relieved, and there's a lot of pride, and just fucking happy that the directions that moving in the right direction as a country.
Yeah, me too, man. Anyway, Kayne's back with us. What the hell's going on with your phone?
It keeps these Facebook scams come on. It says, join, your streaming is done. Join Be Livers. Join the group Be Livers. So I went on and I put the do not disturb on. So
There you go.
Excellent. Finally, let's.
There he is.
You didn't lose me. I'm just reconfiguring it all so we get back to where we should be here.
Yeah.
All right. Very professional show we're having today.
My fault.
So we're having. What do you think of the IFA decision, Kayne?
Well, my thoughts is I try to stay out of the politics out of it, but over the last few years, just from what I've been reading and everything, is kind of like I've seen the direction over the last few years. Like I went to Worlds in 7, 8, 9, 10, and they were all really big championships, a lot of entries, and since then I've seen the numbers rise, but also since then we haven't seen a championship in North America. So since 2010 in Mesquite, so I've been kind of following it now. Not saying that I didn't want to go to Turkey and some of the countries over the years. It just came down to I wasn't able to make it. I qualified, but I just wasn't able to go. But now with the politics in it, and after Fred left, and I've just seen a lot of changes. So now with the introduction of the IFA, and I've watched how that is going in the directions that they are going in, I'm very excited because I think just from what I see there, they're both good associations, but the IFA is in a better direction because it's less of my words on it is a dictatorship.
There you go.
I like how it's run. I like how it's organized. The countries that have joined already are very strong arm wrestling based countries. So on the recent vote with Canada, wanting to join, I'm very excited about that because it allows Worlds to be back in North America, where that's exciting for people traveling, especially kids, families and stuff like that. But also, I see that they're on the right direction for arm wrestling.
Holy shit. Oh, well. Kayne's going to keep popping in and out, so I'm going to quit reconfiguring everything, and I'll add him back in when he gets here.
For sure.
We're talking about IFA Worlds. We're going to be going to Orlando this year, and the Nationals in Winnipeg will now be a qualifier for that. Gabi, I think the most important thing is to throw our support behind IFA and Rick, and we'll make sure that we don't do something stupid in Canada like have another federation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I apologize, my phone. I don't know why.
Okay.
Go
Over
ahead.
here on Crossfire, Kayne, we don't ban guests because their phone isn't working properly, so don't worry about it.
No.
There is not good standing list.
I think it's going to happen every few minutes because I can't seem to find out. I even put the do not disturb on, and it wants me to join some Be Live thing.
Oh, I think you got your Facebook app running in the background.
That could be.
Have you got an iPhone?
Yeah.
Close out the other apps. I hope you know how to do that.
Okay, give me a minute and I'll see if I can do that.
Double
Or
click.
even close out all pages except for the page you're on. That might help your Wi-Fi connection too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll do that the next time I lose you because I'm sure it's going to kick in again. But
Yeah.
I'll try to go quick. IFA, great thing.
Well, that's
Direction, so
yeah.
I think that's good. So
Well, let's talk about the matches this weekend. How many super matches are there?
we got 6 in total. We have 2 belt. We have 2 fit to fight belts up for grabs, and we have 4 in our card in our main event.
All right, and let's talk about which one do you want to break down first?
Well, we'll start in the order they're going to go in, and kind of the way I've been announcing them. Our first super match of the evening after our open finals will be between our champion in the 0 to 154 right arm, Brittany Sutherland out of Winnipeg. Ryan, you know her well. You help her train, and she will be taking 5th contender, but very strong, Monica, who is from McLean, Saskatchewan, who is trained by Solomon Latimer. So, and she is one tough farm girl. So even though she's 5th contender, that was a year ago. This could be a really good start for the tournament. I think it'll be pretty exciting. Best of 5 right arm for the 0 to 154 right arm belt. So.
All right, well, make me a believer. What gives this girl a chance against Brittany Sutherland? Good. Anyway, back to us, Coffee. Where were we on our side conversation about the IFA? Well, we're waiting for Kayne to come back.
I don't know, man.
We were talking about how the CAWF could have another.
All right.
Oh, shit. Well, somebody's asking me my thoughts on pulling Todd Hutchings. You know, for those of you guys watching that don't know, and that's probably everybody because it was done with about 15 minutes notice one morning. I ended up on the WAL This Week podcast with Neil Pickup and joining the show, all of us on about the same amount of notice was myself, Rob Vision Jr., and Ryan Bowen. And we got into the matches. And with Neil posting that on the wall as one of his potential matches for 601, I mean, that's interesting to me, the Todd Hutchings match. It's not a match that I would have had on my radar even 2 months ago. But I think with Todd Hutchings coming on the show, and I think, Gobby, you were the first one that brought up that potential match, weren't you?
Well, I was just only to create some type of heated debate between the two of you that didn't end up going that way. But I think I don't love that matchup for you. Any matchup that gets you on a wall card is good, but I don't love that matchup for you. Plus, it's not your dominant arm. I'd love to see you pull left with a super heavyweight.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of possibilities out there. We'll see what happens. So, Kayne, make me a believer. What chance does this girl have against Brittany Sutherland? How's it going to go down? Can you hear me, Kayne?
I can't hear him for some reason.
Let's try this. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Self out of the stream. Bobby, can you hear me?
There,
Yeah,
I can hear him.
I can hear you. I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. So, Kayne, make me a believer. What chance does this girl have against Brittany Sutherland?
Well, first of all, Solomon's been training her for the last year. Tough farm girl. She works with her hands every day. Whereas I don't think Brittany works like strength wise with her hands every day. Like she's a farm girl, so she works on a farm with her arms and hands every day. So,
But is that new? Is that new, or has she been doing that for her whole life?
well, her whole life. But the key is now she knows how to arm wrestle. She's been training, so they haven't ever pulled, and her technique and pulling and just training now has allowed her to really, how do you say it, improve in a short period of time. So
The vector.
Brittany to beat her would beat her with speed and technique, whereas I'd say Monica has more strength and power in a longer match. So
Okay.
it'll be exciting.
Gabu, how do you see that match going down? Do you know either one of these girls?
No, man. I know the name Sutherland. I know Brittany's name. I don't recall. But I'm not in the loop when it comes to female Western arm wrestling at that level. Where's Christina Flicka from? She's from Manitoba, isn't she? Or is she from Saskatchewan?
She was from when I met her. She was living in Ontario, but she's in Alberta now.
Alberta. Okay, so yeah. I know. I know there's a wicked, good, talented lightweight in I think in Edmonton. The Ready Go Garb guy was sponsoring her. I know she.
Oh, Harley.
Yeah, but other than that, I'm really out of the loop.
Ready, yeah.
But,
nice plug for Ready Go Garb there. I'm sure.
Well,
you
know. But yeah, so I don't know. I really don't know. But whenever there's a super match, a women's super match, it's good news, right? Promote the hell out of it. Hopefully, it's a great match. Looking forward to see if the fifth ranked girl can do any damage.
Yeah, I mean, Brittany's a bit of an unknown, but I've seen her look pretty dominant at times, and then there's times where I've seen her look a little bit vulnerable. I guess it depends how much she's been training. So, like some of the rest of us, she's changed residences, and her gym that she had in her home is no longer there, and I'm not sure what kind of an effect that has had on her. I guess we'll see. We'll see in a little bit here. If the fifth ranked girl can do the upset. Originally, that was supposed to be a championship match between Donna and Brittany, but Donna has relinquished her belts, correct, Kayne?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, she stepped down and pursued other things in life. So being that Brittany was going to pull her for the belt in our league, Brittany moves into the champion spot. And then I contacted the next contenders. They weren't able to make it due to work commitments or didn't feel comfortable. They weren't in a training part. So we moved down the line until we got to Monica, and she was very gung-ho for it, and she's very excited about this opportunity.
All right, match number 2. Who do we got?
Match number 2, our left arm heavyweight belt, which you hold. You will be defending against...
Having never beat the champ.
What's that? Yeah, it's the same thing. Tyrell Wachowski there from Saskatoon. He was our champion in that class in the left arm. Hasn't competed for a while, just due to some personal reasons. He has conceded his, earlier, a couple months ago, he conceded his belt to you, the number 1 ranked contender. So you move into that spot as a champion, and right away you had interest to defend it. So Mark Gay being the next contender, we reached out to him, and he was very interested in taking a shot at the belt, and he'll be traveling down from Grand Prairie area this will be a best of 5 left arm super match. So
Mark has been trying to get a match with me like this for a long time. So he finally gets his wish. But you know what they say. Be careful what you wish for.
Once again, I think this will be an exciting second belt match, our second match of the evening. Coming right after Brittany and Monica's. You guys are both very talented competitors. And like I said, he's very excited to have a shot at the belt. And this will be your first time with the belt and defending it. So that makes it exciting too for both you guys and for everybody in the building. So we're very excited about this. Will be our second and only. We're only having 2 belt matches just because we decided to have a bigger card, because at this event we were really promoting female arm wrestling in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan and Western Canada with the pullers that we're bringing in. So
match 3.
Match 3 is going to there'll be a small break in between because those are our belt matches, and then after a small break we'll get into our main card. And starting off in that one, we're going to start it off with a bang probably. And we're going to bring both these gentlemen are big boys. They don't have to weigh in. They just show up.
Oh, yeah.
We got Len Houghton from Lethbridge, Alberta, is going against Steve Gaber from Regina. Now, this isn't for a belt or anything. These are just matches. This is called the Duke Invitational because Brandon Olson, the Duke, him and I came up with the idea of him kind of, this tournament is based after him and some of the people that he'd like to invite to Moose Jaw. So we teamed up to do this tournament together. So we both raised money to help cover costs. He's part of the donation that goes to Jim Patterson. But at the end of the day, him and I try to find the most exciting matchups that we can in our card. And in the past, as you know, we've had, Jeff Dave, we've had Richard Lupke's, we've had some incredible guests. But what we did at this one, instead of bringing in a main, big name, we decided to have 4 very exciting matches in our main event card. 2 of those being some of the best female arm wrestlers in Canada coming to Moose Jaw to battle it out. So, by going back to this match, Len Houghton, many-time provincial, national, world competitor, taking on a powerhouse in Steve Gaber. He's, once again, too, a provincial national champion. No slouch. This is in the right arm, which both of these guys are very powerful in. So this is going to start our main off event with a bang because a lot of people in Canada are looking forward to this match because Len is no slouch. Everybody knows he's got an incredible hit, incredible power. Steve has no hit. He's very slow. He's like a mini Popeye. If you ever seen the guy, he's maybe like 5'4", but he's like 3 guys wide. And he trains a lot. His hands, I've pulled him many times. His hands are extremely strong. He can take the hit and absorb it and be very powerful. So this is exciting. I see it going to full 5 matches.
That's an interesting match, and it's actually for the people that are really paying attention and are fans of purity of arm wrestling. I think it's an interesting style. Now, if Len was like the best Len ever, I don't think this would be close. So I don't know. I think Gaber can probably last. And I see the first 2 matches going to Len and the last 2 matches going to Gaber. And it'll be that 3rd match that will be the deciding factor, which if Len wins, it'll be over. But
Len's got to be in his upper 40s by now. Is that accurate?
Len's got to be in his 50s.
50s even? Yeah.
Probably later 50s. I think
he was a master. When I started, the first time I went to the Worlds in 2005, or just around there, Len was a big player in the Canadian in the national level. I think he went to Worlds a couple of times in those years, and I recall him being a Masters in those years, like 2006, 7, 8. So yeah,
there was that one tournament in Ottawa, the Nationals, where Eric there was an overall, and I think that there was cash. Yeah, Butcher put up cash in the overall tournament, and it was all the first place winner stays up kind of thing. And I remember having arm wrestle as the super heavyweight winner. I believe I arm wrestled Mike Gould, and then I had to, because he won the Masters, and then I had to arm wrestle Len because he had won the Grandmasters.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so he's up there.
Yeah. So yeah, Lenny is. I think his kids are in their 30s, aren't they, Kayne?
Who's that?
Len's kids.
Oh no, Len's kids will still be in the 20s, but his boys hopefully are coming. From what I hear, actually Len texted me last night and he said, "Kayne, I'm bringing 10 guys." So they have a huge club in Lethbridge. They train, I think, twice a week. The boys in Cranbrook, they come up and I know train with them and some other guys. So I think like last time I heard, they got like 15 guys regularly a week. So and a couple of those, like both Dustin and Dylan, you've pulled them, they got a lot of big heavyweights. But yeah, Len would be in his 50s. Steve is in his, Steve's pulling master, so Steve would be low 40s. There's a 10-year age difference, but that gives Len's got 10, 15, 20 years, experience over Steve too. Steve's, still, he's been around for a little while, but compared to Len, he's a newcomer in the sport, but
Yeah.
he's straight power. Like, here's a guy that came into the sport that was already, super buff, super heavy, super strong. He didn't he just worked on more technique over the last few years than any power. So
Right.
no, it'll be exciting. It's a good way to kick off the main card. I think it'll be good.
All right. Next match. Who we got?
Next match, we're gonna move into the one and only the Duke himself, Brandon Olsen, Mushja. Always wants to pull in his own tournament, always has. So we kind of searched around, like he's pulled, different guys over the years. But he competed against this gentleman in Saskatoon at Fit to Fight number 6. And they had some really good matches. They both seem very similar in their styles, but a little bit. And actually, James, I might say it wrong, Wananowski, Wishkanowski, he trains with Len. So when I was setting up the match with Steve and Len, James's name came up, how, him and Brandon had some wars. And so Brandon and I had some ideas, and it was a good match. So Brandon will be taking James on in a best of 5 right arm, and in front of his hometown crowd. And I hate to say it, same thing. I think this thing will go 5 matches, but I see Brandon coming out 3-2.
It's an interesting match, and they had some wars, but I mean, Brandon's generally, or lately, he's been pretty motivated, it seems. I think I agree with your assessment of the match.
Yeah, I trained him last week. I pulled with him, and his right, as like I said, I pulled him since he was 16, 17 years old, so I've felt him over the years, and his right now is the strongest I've ever felt it. So
Nice.
Next match is?
Next, we'll move into our women's matches, and this was like originally on the card. I had contacted some other female arm wrestlers in Canada that weren't able to make the match. I won't mention any names; they know who they are, but they had further commitments because we were really. I guess the biggest thing here was that in Saskatoon, we had no women's entries, and Richard Lupkes is there. You were there. It was an awesome event, and we were going to have one super match belt in another arm, but one of the women, due to car troubles, couldn't make it, so we ended up having no women entries. Now, we had women entries in the amateur that day, and it was really exciting at the mall, but no women in the open. So as a promoter, I sat down, I talked to Brandon, I said, what do you think about really promoting female arm wrestling in Moose Shop and get some numbers back? So pretty well since that tournament, I've been reaching out to some female arm wrestlers, and also a lot that aren't in the super matches to come and compete. There's going to be women there. It's going to be exciting. Our sponsors are on board. They're excited to see women arm wrestling, like with Rockport and stuff. I always run ideas by Garrett, my buddy, and because he is the title sponsor. This match is gonna have Christy Finley from Winnipeg. You know her well, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
And she is gonna pull in left arm best of 5 against Denise Duros from Calgary. Now, how I got this match, like I said before, I was only gonna have one match, which is our next match after this that we'll talk about. But when I started thinking about this, I'd heard these ladies through the grapevine had pulled at Mayhem in the Mall, and it was very intense. It was very exciting. So through the grapevine, I was like, maybe I can line this match up at my event, because it sounds like an exciting event, and both these women have been training hard, and they are all these women are not just pulling in their super matches in their opposite arm, they are pulling in the open, and that is very exciting too. So with these ladies, this is a best of 5 left arm match. And I am not going to predict this one. I've seen both of these women compete at nationals, at tournaments. There might be a little bit of a weight difference, but there is the strength and the intensity is there, and they pulled. So I think this is going to go 5. It could go either way.
Who came out on top when they pulled before?
I believe it was Denise by a little bit, and it might even, I'm not sure on the details, but I think it was Denise. So I just know that all I heard was that, and I seen pictures, and I heard through the grapevine that they had some very exciting matches, and at the end of the day, Denise sneaked out the win on Christy, so this is somewhat of a redemption for Christy, I think, too. So,
and I think over 5 rounds that favors Christy. So,
and we could see that.
Yeah.
So,
and then the main event. We have the main event.
Well, it's the whole card I called the main event with the 4 matches because they're all very exciting matches. But
Call it the match at the end.
Yeah, this is the match at the end, but it is like probably the one that everybody's looking forward to. And that's why I've left somewhat. It could be the best for last. Not saying anything down on the other matches, but these 2 women are definitely some of our best female arm wrestlers in Canada. We have, as everybody knows, Annie Beals out of Alberta, many-time national champion, provincial champion, world competitor. She just got, did very well in LA. She is very gifted arm wrestler.
What'd she do in LA? How'd she finish?
I'm not sure.
I think Flick ended up getting second down there, didn't she?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just know that they pulled, and from what I heard, they all did very well. I haven't seen any results or anything. I try not to dwell too much on that before my event because I just want to make sure that all the women, I'm excited to see them all and that I'm not picking any favorites. I'm just excited they're all coming to our event. They're all training hard. They're all excited about it. And this match here is actually at a set weight that it is like our women's weight classes are 0 to 154 is our lightweight, and our middleweight is 155 and over. And these women have agreed to be at that 154 or less. So that means both women have to weigh in 154 pounds or less because they have competed in different weight classes in the past. So that somewhat is what they've agreed on. There's a little bit of cash up in all these matches. There's we try to give a little bit to all our competitors in the super matches. Everybody receives money just for showing up. The belt holders get a little bit more. And then we always have a bonus. So if you win, you get a little bonus. So makes it exciting. You get a little extra cash. Now, we don't give any awards in our super matches or belt matches or anything. We just try to give money to help cover costs and a little bit of, help for pay for food, booze, and everything like that. So it's just something we've decided at the start of the league. We've done, and this has been our 7th tournament, something we've done since day one. Now, there's been bigger payouts depending on sponsorship. So it all depends on how much we raise before the tournament. So some tournaments we've been able to raise more, so the payouts have been more. And it also depends on, hey, everybody look out the door. The economy isn't the same it was 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
we work with our sponsors. We're lucky that we still have a good, strong sponsorship base, and we're always working hard to give as much as we can to our competitors, especially in our super matches, so that, it helped cover some of their costs. But going back to who Annie is competing against, and she is competing against Vivian Santos from Winnipeg, who you also know very well, Ryan. And she has been training very hard. Everybody has seen videos of her, and she has been cutting weight, and she is super pumped. When I asked her about this match, she knows that Annie is a competitor. So this is why it's the last match. And same thing, I'm not picking any favorites. Both these women are extremely strong. I've seen them compete. They're competitors. They're ferocious. this will be, once again, I'm saying, like as the previous match, it's going to go 5 and it could go either way. It's it's going to be intense. I think everybody is going to be watching. We're going to try to be going live. Check out the Fit to Fight Facebook page because we're going to set up a live feed and only for our super matches. It's too much work to do the whole open tournament. The open tournament usually runs from 4 to 7. We have a supper break. We get going with our open finals, and then we move into our super matches around 8:30, which take probably a couple hours. So
Nice.
Yeah, I like the match. And Ronan, by the way, that's the colored part. That's what looks like when I trim it. But we have the Vivian match. I would have to think that Annie would be on paper the favorite based on accolades, and she is amazing. But Vivian has been training really hard. She's even made the trip out to my club for a couple of times here to prepare for the match. So she's gonna give Annie a good match, and it's a tough one to call. I would think that Vivian would be the underdog for sure going into the match, but she relishes that role, and I think that will be a very entertaining, very exciting match to highlight women's arm wrestling.
I'd say so. Yeah, so we're very excited to offer this match, and like I said, I know the women are been very focused on it and training very hard. So that's exciting when we can offer this, and I think this is, from what I hear, a lot of women are coming to pull in our open tournament, which is why we're really promoting women at this event. We want to see our numbers come back up. We're trying. Everybody asks, well, why can't we pay out as much as the men? Okay, or why can't we keep all the payouts the same? We're doing our best. We try to raise as much money as we can and give everybody the same, but also it's on somewhat how much we raise, how much of a draw it is. Is it a main card? Is it a belt match? Is it, you know what I mean? It's tough because you want to look after everybody the same, but you can't. Since day one, I've never, I can't do it, and I don't see it changing where everybody's going to lock down. It's like if you gotta. I don't think in the WL when Devin's pulling anybody, I don't think the competitor he's pulling is getting the same as Devin. So,
no, I mean it's a stupid argument, to be honest with you, to say that everyone should get the same amount of money. We're not in a communist state, and we're being paid on the asses we put in the seats and the attention we bring to the sport. So would I expect to get as much as a Matt Mask who has a fan base that's substantial? Absolutely not. I think it would be ridiculous for me to say that I want the same amount of money if let's say Devin's facing let's say he's going up against Michael Todd for the hammer at 601. And all of a sudden, with a week's notice, Michael gets injured. They need a match for Devin, and they say, hey, Ryan, you want to take that match? Am I going to say, show me Devin's contract and give me the same amount of money? That would be ridiculous. I don't know. Gabi, what do you think?
Well, the reason super matches happen is because people generally want to see them. They generate interest, and the bigger the name, the more the interest. And I always said when I ran a tournament, or if I would run another tournament, I'd have one major, huge super match that would bring asses in the seats, and then I'd have other ones that may be locals, that local flavor, that have local interest. So of course, your big name has to be paid big, and your other ones marginally. It's always like that. There's a guy coming off the street in a boxing match get the same purse as Mike Tyson in the mid 90s or early 90s? Of course not. You get paid based on your reputation, and more importantly, based on the interest from fans, and are they willing to pay to come see you compete? So of course it shouldn't be even. I mean, I agree with Kayne, and I agree with you.
Yeah, there's not a lot of debate here. I mean, this is not a unionized workforce that we're talking about.
It's ridiculous.
And if you're gonna, I know where this is coming from, Kayne. I saw some of the messages, and I think it's a little silly to say that it's a women versus men thing, or we should all get the same. Because the argument could be made that you take the tier, not by Gabi's standards, but the tier 2 guys in WAL, and they would fall, or they should fall, somewhere below Gabriela Vasconcelos or Sarah Bachman. Like, they should be. They're very popular. People want to see those girls pull. They would get more than most of the guys, I would imagine, in World Arm Wrestling League. But again, I don't have access to the contracts. So,
Well, it kind of goes to the state. Let's take for example right now. Say Steve calls me from the WAL and says, "Kayne, I heard you and Joel Hudick had some wars. You guys are very similar with your left arm, your top ranked guys. I'd love to set up a super match between you two. Would you come down, for $500?" I'd say, you know what, Steve, like myself, I'd come for nothing. I love the sport. I love to compete against Joel again. But if you want to give me that, that is enough. Like I'm not going to say, well, no, I'm not going to come for unless I get a grand. But you know what I mean. But that's me, right? So, and I have had competitors now that the league is growing, and I love it. That I have had a lot of people reach out to me and say, "Hey, Kayne, can I be in a super match in one of your cards?" And I'll be like, "I'll keep your name in mind, and if we find somebody exciting." You know what I mean? Then we'll match it up. And an example of that is, it was kind of blown out of proportion, but last in September there, we had Curtis Kaczynski from Saskatoon against Jeff Frank. Both those guys aren't ranked in my league, but they were just kind of wanted to pull each other, and I thought it would be an exciting match, and I put it together, and it happened. So it's kind of like you always want to try and find the most exciting matches, but also you want to make sure that within your budget, they're accepting what you're offering them, or they're happy that they're getting an opportunity. I try to give everybody a little bit. And that's why I said it kind of changes. It varies, depends on who's coming, what I can raise, and what I can afford to pay certain people. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I don't see it changing. I do my best, but it is where I think as a promoter and in our seventh tournament where we give out money, you know what I mean, in all our super matches, is that seems to be the biggest. That's the only thing I hear about is how much am I getting paid, or why, and I guess this or much compared to this person. And it's just something that, I just say, well, I try not to get overwhelmed on it, but I try to do my best. I feel for the guys that are giving out thousands of dollars to guys like WL and other leagues where, wow, like, how do you decide when I'm just giving out $50 here, $100 there? Wow, when they got to start talking to guys about 500,000, 5,000, that's you got to make sure you have the sponsors, and you got to have sure of that money up front when you start signing guys to come for super matches. Like, am I going to get this many people entered? Am I going to raise this much in sponsorship or get this many people watching this match? Like,
well,
it's pretty intense.
We were talking about, you're mentioning Curtis. Well, Curtis, because of that match in Saskatoon, has an agreement to arm wrestle Joe Fox at the Red Deer tournament on August the 8th. So based on him coming and just performing at your event, he's now got an additional super match to train for against a guy that by this time next week could be a rising star in the PAL.
Yeah, so sometimes you get an opportunity somewhere, and you put on a show and you're entertaining, then you might, other opportunities might arise from it. But it's not always, I don't think it's always on how you put on a show, because let's go with someone, for example, where we all know well, it's like Anthony Del Antonio. He is one of the quietest guys at the table, but he proves himself on the table, and he can, get a super match, or has been asked many places. So it's from one extreme to the next. If you're a good arm wrestler but you put on a good show, or you're a good arm wrestler, you're quiet, you prove it on the table, and beat most guys. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So
Hey, you know what the girls got paid for the halftime show at the Super Bowl last night?
a lot.
0. They take no fee to put on the halftime show at the Super Bowl. Do you know how much their sales go up over the next year on concert tickets?
Yeah, well, I guess
I believe it's an average of like 550% or something like that. I'm just going off of some weird radio show that I heard recently about that. But
that could be true because how many people in the world watch that, right? So it's and that's why going back, we try to do, at all our tournaments now, we try to do a Facebook live feed. So this Saturday, start watching. If you're not a member of the Facebook, our Fit to Fight Facebook League page, join this week. We'll be going live for the super matches from about between 8 and 10:30. So watch in there, and you'll be able to watch live all 6 of these exciting matches. And I usually, have results up after that within a few days, or you'll be able to see them live. So check that out. Also, check for updates this week as we're announcing all the matches and videos on our Instagram page, which I post on there all the time. And I want to thank Brandon the Duke Invite. It's his tournament. And, I know everybody's training or resting this week, so that's exciting as everybody's preparing. And I want to make sure everybody has safe travels to Moose Jaw on Friday, Saturday. Weather doesn't supposed to be too bad, so and we look forward to seeing everyone. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be an exciting event. But if you can make it early, don't forget weigh-ins are at the Western Dodge dealership from 1 to 3 at the dealership. They are our big sponsor. Brandon Olson himself works there. So, and we are going to have the kids tournament right in the showroom of the dealership starting at 2 o'clock. So weigh-ins are from 1 to 3 for the open there, and 1 to 2 for the kids. And the kids tournament will get going from 2 to 3, and then we'll all move over to Bugsy's Irish Pub there at the Town and Country Mall. They've been our home now for 3 years. They love our events. They'll have us every year. So this tournament is going to be around. The Duke Invitational is going to be around for a while. So
any truth to the rumor that the Duke is working on a brand new truck for a prize for next year's Duke Invitational?
I don't know if it'd be. He might be able to get some super incentives. I can't say
Like
that
what? Like
because
you don't have to pay for mud flaps. You don't have to pay for mats.
he gets you some good deals because I just bought a SUV.
0.5% off your lease.
Yeah, I just got a good deal on a little SUV I bought off him in November, and I've been very happy and pleased that I bought it from him. It was a good purchase, and he got me a really good deal. So don't forget, if you're looking for a vehicle, it doesn't have to just be a Dodge. If you're coming down this weekend, bring your wallet because he'll get you some super incentives. He's been there, and they love him there. He's an incredible salesman, and he loves his job, but he's very excited about this event, especially when it's named after you. He's been pounding the pavement to get the sponsorship, and once again, going back to it, we're looking forward to raising some money. Now, I don't think we're going to hit the numbers when going back. This goes back to the issue about how much do you pay a guy. Richard Lupke's comes to town. We look after him. He is so generous, him and his wife, Shirley. They don't, ask for a lot. So in the end, because after the tournament, and I don't have to pay him a lot, $2,500 we raised for the Jim Patterson Foundation. So, that just goes to show, you know what I mean? Some people just love the sport and love helping out. So, that's the difference here. I don't know what we're going to raise. We always shoot for over 1,000. It depends on how the event goes and everything, how much we can raise, but we're just excited to give back. Anytime you can put on, the best way to say it is Stacy Lawson's with the Jim Patterson House Foundation. She is in shock that a small arm wrestling tournament, like 2 of them last year, raised $4,500 for the Jim Patterson Health Foundation. She said, you wouldn't believe how far this money goes just from your tournaments. She says she's blown away that a little arm wrestling tournament can raise money even. You know what I mean? So that's very exciting for us. And at the end of the day, everybody that has come to an event or plans to come to an event, just think about where your money is going. You get to pull at a top run event. You get lots of experience. It's fun. You're gonna have a blast. But at the end of the day, you know you're helping sick children. Isn't that like you're not just leaving a tournament and going home and going back to life? You've done something good.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I applaud you for that. And you now have the power of the 1,034 subscribers of Arm Crossfire behind you.
And we appreciate it. So,
Gobby, what you got? Anything?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Kayne. Over the last week, they voted for the whether Canada was going to join the IFA or not. Your Saskatchewan representatives, do you know how they went? Did you have any input there? Did they contact you? I don't even know who represented your province in that vote.
what we did is we just had a vote. There was it was just a kind of a link was sent out to everybody, all our active arm wrestlers in Saskatchewan, and Clayton put it together to get kind of a consensus on where we wanted to vote, how we wanted to vote, just like most of the other provinces did. That information was sent back to Clayton. I actually was, I can't remember if I told Clayton myself or whatever, but I think he kind of knew my position. But if not, I would have been abstained. But at the end of the day, he took those results and he would have gave them to Tracy, our president, and she would have made
Tracy.
that vote. And I personally don't have that information.
Okay.
Since I just wanted to get the league going over the last few years, and now that it's running and doing well, and we're having 3 tournaments, I've kind of stepped away from the association, provided lots of help with reffing and training. But now that the league is running, then yeah, I think I work a lot with the Saskatchewan Arm Wrestling Federation Association, so but I don't have any of that information. Sorry.
You going to Orlando next year?
I am planning at this point, yes. So we are, me and my family, my 2 boys, I train them. We are going to be in Winnipeg. We've been at the last 2 in Laval and Edmonton, and our family has had a really good time, and my boys love to compete like their dad. So we will be training hard, and we will see everybody in Winnipeg, and I helped put together the team with, of course, Clayton and the association. We'll be building our team from Saskatchewan, and since it's so close, I expect, as in Edmonton, we had a very large team from Saskatchewan, very strong team, and I see that happening again. And also, we've already had a lot of interest after this vote just in the last week. I think you will see a lot of our competitors training very hard to do well at nationals, because here's a chance where they can travel to a world competition in North America, which keeps costs down. And it's in Orlando, a very exciting place to take your family and arm wrestle. So, yes, at this point, as I told Ryan, that I am already training for nationals, and we will be prepared as a province, and we will be there.
Well, just to switch gears here before we wrap up the show, guys, there's some call that we need to touch base on the Chance Shaw versus Ryan Bowen super match that happened last weekend. We should talk about that because I predicted a 6-0 sweep for Chance. And after match 1, it kind of looked like it would go that way. Did you guys see the match?
I watched. I caught some of it left and right. I just seen some stuff that both of them posted. I didn't study it too much. I didn't know which way it went. The matches that I seen, yes, both very strong pullers. And I guess in the end, what was it final? Ryan won?
4 matches to 2.
4 matches to 2. So what's it?
The 6-rounder.
And what was it supposed to be, a best out of what?
It was like PAL style 6 rounds.
6 rounds. So you just pull no matter what. So
yeah. So it looked like Ryan had a really, really smart game plan in just knowing what angle to hit and where to tire Chance out, and Chance never really adjusted. In fairness, I caught like the beginning of it and the end of it. But Ryan's a good super match arm wrestler.
Yeah, and it's how you prepare too. There's guys that are more, they don't train for the super matches. They just train to go to a tournament where you might have 7 matches, right? So be fast, quick, the way you hit. Whereas super matches, I'm sure by the looks of it, Ryan trains with a lot of stamina. I seen in the matches that I did see that he had quite a bit of endurance, was able to take numerous hits from Chance, and that comes with training for that. So, yes, I must agree. He's a good super match competitor.
Yeah.
So.
And hats off to him, I think, because I didn't give him a shot, and he's legit. There was some talk about in the comments here about whoever had the buckle seemed to have lost. I noticed they didn't do the fairer strap, so maybe that did come into play.
I'm reluctant to give him. I mean, he won. He was the lighter guy, but who the fuck is Chance Shaw? Like, again, he has a win on Xena. Xena coming back is injury. Everything is circumstantial, but these are two arm wrestlers that have never ever really won anything on the world level. So I call them tier threes. They're tier threes. They're mid-level, low-level pros, mid-level pros. It's a big win for anytime a guy travels far and has to deal with jet lag and beats a heavier guy. There's credit to be given for sure. But he didn't beat Michael Todd. He beat a guy who's never really done anything on a tournament level, and he himself's coming off getting lit up at Zloty. So again, these are two big names only because they promote the shit out of their names, but these are not top tier arm wrestlers. And it was a shit show. I mean, the reffing wasn't great. I know it's supposed to be on a beach. It's not Craig's fault. It wasn't on a beach. It was they had terrible weather. But the reffing was poor. Whenever the buckle was on the opposite hand, that guy took advantage. There was no long matches. Whenever someone didn't get what they want, they conceded the match. There was no grinding. There was no heart. There was no soul to the pulling. So for me, nothing there. Unfortunately, I heard there was a heart attack. A guy had a heart attack, 41-year-old, which is tragic as hell. I'm trying to get updates on how he's doing today. But so that to me is the biggest thing there. But in terms of the matchup, it tells me nothing. There's nothing there.
Interesting. The thing that I found interesting is, while Chance Shaw was a much heavier guy, Ryan looked to be bigger than him, in my opinion. Like when they're at the table, Ryan looked like the bigger guy.
Yeah. He pulls taller. Chance is sloppy as hell. And I was a little bit. One thing Chance had going in for him is he's bigger, but he's also an excellent arm wrestler. He got out arm wrestled pretty poorly. And even the match he had, the first match he took off Ryan, he didn't seem to want to. In a super match, once you have an advantage on someone, you want to try to bleed him. He didn't do any of that. He just pinned him. Like, he just looked very poor. His performance looked poor. His form looked poor. And he was favored. Everyone favored him, I think.
Do you think the beach attire with the shirts and shorts maybe affected?
Man, there's a fucking, speaking of, there's a clown factor going on in arm wrestling, and we have it in when I say clown factor, I'm talking about guys like Curtis Klaczynski. Man, I hope you didn't give that guy a fucking dime. I just think there's guys out there trying to do, be something they're not, or trying to overcompensate for a lack of talent with putting on a show, but they're not necessarily a showman. Anyway, we see a lot of that these days.
Well, gentlemen, I gotta go, so we gotta wrap her up. I gotta
ask Kayne one more question.
Sure.
Yeah. What hockey team do you root for there?
Most of the people in Saskatchewan either cheer for Edmonton or Calgary or Winnipeg, because we don't have NHL teams. So
right.
In our household, it's the Winnipeg Jets, just because I guess we have always been Jet. Like, I grew up being a Edmonton fan because I grew up in Alberta. But, of course, moving to Saskatchewan, it was just the Jets were close by, and we watched them a lot because they're on our TV. So we all just became Jets fans. And until this day, it's still really the provinces broke into those 3 teams. So.
Nice. But I'm sure a huge Rough Riders fan.
Oh yeah. We've had season tickets now for about 20 years. So.
Wow. Nice. Good stuff, man. Yeah, I was just curious about that.
Yep.
All right, Kayne. Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
Yep. Thanks for the invite, and we're excited about our big event this weekend. And then once it's over, I'll be working on our next one right away, fight number 8. So keep posted on that. And I appreciate the invite and the info and the breakdown on the matches. And it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah. Best of luck this weekend, and props to giving profits away for a great cause. That's noble of you, and I look forward to hearing the results.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. I'll see you this weekend, Kayne. Rest of you guys, see you next week.
Take care, guys.
All right.